And now, our feature presentation.
You are watching a master at work.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rafael Chacín, and here we are with another episode of the Combat Club with my co-host Zenith. And right now, we are ready because right now, over the last week, is the UFC 302 at Newark, New Jersey, and then last night they just had like an amazing fight night. Tonight is gonna be the NST battleground for the first time in the UFC Apex in Las Vegas. So right now in this episode, we're gonna review a lot of things at the UFC 302 at Newark, New Jersey, because right now there's like a lot of things we had to do right now because it's gonna be like a not very short but not very long, but we're gonna discuss right now. So let's give a warm welcome to my co-host Science Sanis. So how you feel about after the UFC 302? Because right now it is the big opportunity to see who's gonna win, who's gonna lose, but we just saw like everything in Newark, New Jersey, because everything could happen.
Wonderful fight night. It was a fun fight, a night of fights. You know what I'm saying? I just want to say thank you guys all for tuning in. You know, a little bit different day. Coming to you guys live on a Sunday, but we really appreciate you guys. You appreciate all of you guys tuning in, and always Daniel showing support as well. So thank you guys so much for being here. That being said, yeah, 302 took place in New York, New Jersey. Absolutely amazing night of fights. You know, I do want to touch on some of these fights, but we do have a long night ahead of us. Like Rafael said, we are going to break down Battlegrounds. We are going to break down Cannonier, UFC on ESPN, the Cannonier fight. And obviously, I just wanted to start this show by basically talking about the Kevin Holland fight. So what is the matter with Michelle and not tapping? Now, I'm just going to say that. There's no shame in tapping people. If you have to tap out, there's no shame in tapping out. The reason why that rule is in place for you don't go in there and actually damage yourself, and it's basically there for the protection of the fighter, to protect them from themselves. And then you have Michelle and Michael, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, going in there and absolutely, Kevin Holland absolutely snapping his arm back and breaking his shoulder, whatever he snapped, his arm or anything. But his arm is not supposed to bend like that, and the guy did not tap. And I don't look at that as toughness. I look at that as stupidness. Like, that was stupid not to tap, because now you just have to go to see extra time at the doctors. You're gonna have to see more doctors, and I just don't understand it. And shout out to Kevin Holland, because he damn near, he got hit, he fell, he basically fell back, got dropped basically, and he immediately attacked the submission as soon as the opportunity presented itself. So big win on Kevin Holland's side. But that being said, people, don't be afraid to tap. Go right ahead, Raphael.
Yeah, because about for Kevin Holland, I thought this is gonna be like a real good chance right now. But even though they just got convinced that I have to go for this one, I mean, Kevin Holland, I mean, it doesn't have like much to anticipated, because I know protesting with a broken arm is just like a psycho behavior. I mean, he was definitely had to go to breaking him out to tap right now. So necessary, because he was begging into him to tap. He were like at a 7 seconds to do, which is not very necessary on the end, because you can see the exact moment that Kevin faced. They don't want to wait to tap anymore. They just went, oh, there's no more armor then. But I won't remember it's gonna be like the lead arm snap, but he was just like gonna remember just like an object lesson what not to do. I mean, I was very like not that frustrated to forcing Holland to refusing to tap. I mean, if that became like a very compound, but I think it's gonna be like a super low fight IQ move. But they have sort of either the after this one. After they have sort of not look it up at the arm bar, but that was not the default, because it should have been tapped. But I just came like it because that was like at a finish. But he's gonna break it too. But that was just like crazy. But he's not getting out of it. Holland could just kept him playing with already broken arm until the end of the round. But in my opinion, it's gonna be stopped at the fight as soon as the arm snap. I mean, it's gonna be over. I think that you had just like
Oh, appreciate it. I
oh
was muted. I do
Okay.
want to also touch on Jolton Almeida. He did exactly what we thought he was going to do. He took the fight to the
Yeah.
ground, which was nice to see, and he got that submission choke. So before we move on to some of the bigger fights, I do want to give a special shout out to Nico Price getting that nice dub. I like to give a shout out to Randy Brown. I love to see fighters. When basically I understand that they're great fighters, but they go through this stint. It's good to see them get back on the winning side of things and go on these streaks every once in a while. Any thoughts on Jolton Almeida, and what did you think about his defeat against Mominov?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because for Nico Price, I mean, that should be a lot of this one for this. Because imagine if they have like several fights because they're gonna be like sneaking it out and won't make it noticed. I
Mhm.
mean, if he wasn't that slow for knocking it off the likes of Team Means and Randy Brown early in his career, I mean, damage could have had the pretty fast. I mean, Morano, he has a lot of UFC wins, but I'm very sure he's actually good at all. He destroyed one of the both of the knees, which is he athleticism is very fucked because he's looking at a pretty tidy boxer with some solid grappling, but unfortunately, his power and athleticism has fortunately zero. He has some like puzzling decision to make it at times, getting out like making at times looking like wretched, but at things that are considered has a great career. But the jabs in the third were just straight lay for the launcher for the whole body, which is very comical. I mean, what are the first round strikes? It became like a round five, but I think it's natural athletic. It just completely destroyed at that point because I know that he could have fight this one, but he hasn't only for the front round, but also he had the fighters for the match because I know this is gonna be like a discipline, but I know it's gonna be a boy for the grappling and wrestling. Moreno, he has a very solid chance, but right now it seems like it all complains like this one because I thought this is gonna happen. But Nico Price, as long as he's a boy for the wrestling, I mean, there gonna be a lot of things that have to do about it. I mean, that guy he wants to deserve like a title shot, but he doesn't want to plan to retire because he just won. But over this time, because right now he has 61s, 7 losses. I mean, he cruised at the passes starts over 3 runs with a win and anonymous decision because he has no retirement plans because he hasn't around with the life and all this stuff. But he just getting done with easy. And don't be expected that Nico Price could be like to earn the title shot.
Well said, well said, well said. What's your thoughts on that nice beat it up, nice performance where Sean Strickland had, basically had Pablo Costa backing up, basically the whole fight. For that judge to score the fight, one of the judges to score it for Pablo, that doesn't make any sense to me. That judge should be fired and he should never judge again. But I diverse. Sean Strickland absolutely looked amazing out there. Absolutely looked like I'm a believer that I would have gave it to Sean Strickland over Duplessis. I am a believer that he won that fight, and he went out there and he had an aggressive fighter. Pablo don't really back up. Robert Whitaker, even though Robert Whitaker won
Oh,
that
yeah.
fight, he wasn't even backing up against Robert Whitaker. So the fact that Sean Strickland was able to back him up and basically take over that whole 5-round fight is absolutely amazing to watch. I don't know what Izzy is doing. I don't know if Izzy is still on hiatus, but I really want to see that rematch. And Sean Strickland, I'm not gonna say he deserves the rematch because he only had he wasn't a long standing champion, but I am, for one, a believer where he never lost that first fight against Duplessis. I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to keep on saying it. So the UFC, I would want to see Sean Strickland versus Duplessis, and then the winner, will go fight Izzy and welcome him back to the octagon because I do believe that Izzy is going to be a hard fight for anybody to fight once he comes back. I said it last week. I truly believe that a lot of the pressure outside of the octagon, personal issues, and also the press, just doing so much press. Izzy needed the time to get back into the lab, work on some new crafts, and come out next time looking like the fucking kickboxer that won multiple championships and the middleweight that basically ran through the damn division, beating the legends, the likes of Anderson Silva and so on. That being said, I would want to see Sean Strickland versus Duplessis. Sean Strickland looked absolutely amazing versus Pablo Costa, and you guys, the winner of that fight, can welcome Izzy back into the octagon. I'm gonna pass the mic over to my amazing co-host Rafael.
Yeah, that's exactly. About for Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa. I mean, what do we say about that? I mean, he fights scared because he's actually cooked, but was really sad because that not only Costa is very huge by 185, but historically has a very good resume because I have no idea why he refused to step forward to get into a war to start the fights because he must know about the injuries. It's absolutely like pretty nonsense. I mean, fighting scare is accurate because he was maybe too worried about it cutting these like cutting his right now, but that was just like a Sean is very good, but he has a very good pressure, but nothing but his shots and barely gets like these runs for the number one contender. Doesn't inspire a level of confidence. And Costa was actually fought for the 5 round, the entire fight, actually just put the combinations together and threw body kicks. There's still like a decent fighter in there because it's just like underneath the shell left by easy. I mean, what was like the Costa game plan here? Kept moving forward, never giving in, nobody from, check out completely at the end of the round fight. What does happen? I believe that Ortega would like kick somebody what was going slow, Sean down, but he was just like able to be like big shot to finish later. But it seems like it wasn't like a good plan. But Sean was better to expecting that check-in, and he knows how to advantage. I know how to advantage. I know it should be a damn near only the high car of the car, but he can really had to go for the first round because pretty much he just walked at the 4 round because there's like a significance just landed like the hardest shots. I mean, everybody's just gonna land more kicks and strikes, but what ended up being mutual. I mean, it doesn't feel like the pattern shots with Strickland's counters are the significant, but how the heck is gonna be how dominated? I mean, every second that I just watching it, just walking the straight of the punch kicks, I thought Costa was gonna win this, but I think the Strickland has no right to criticize something fighting for boring because I remember to see like Tommy Towers or they seeing Jaffrey for 25 minutes. I mean, that was like a eventful, but I'm feeling like there's nothing had to go to see like, oh, that's very amazing to has to see like fluster the opponent against stars are amazing, but that was definitely like a Strickland fight because it's gonna be all jab, all bar, but he was just like the only fighter to spar harder than the actual fighters. But I know exactly the same exact fight every time. How nobody's figured it out with the counter style. I mean, that happened to Costa be fired up.
And yeah, I would say this in that point. I mean, like
Uh-huh.
it looks deceivingly. It's kind of like when you look at a skateboarder, right? A skateboarder does this amazing, like say, like a dolphin flip, right? And you're like, holy shit, that's amazing. I want to go try it. And you go try, and you're like, I can't even I don't even know where to begin, right? And then even though if you know the steps of the trick, it's just so hard to accomplish it. It takes years of practicing, right? Especially with complex moves like the dolphin flip. So when you look at a pro skater just go and do it, it's like, oh wow, you know what I'm saying? That being said, Sean Strickland's style should be a style that you should just walk down, but he is the one that is walking people down. And you said it perfectly. It's the years of sparring. When you're that complex and you're that special at one thing in the sport, you have to get good. If boxing is his specialty, and which it is, he has to get good at defending the takedowns. He has to get good on not showing weakness and taking leg kicks. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, it looks so easy to break down his style until you get into a gate. You get into the cage with him, and then Izzy even said it's like I couldn't time his distance. Like it took me a hard time to read his cadence. It took me his jab is underrated. Like his jab just pops you. All of a sudden, he's just boom, there it is in your face. And I honestly think you're absolutely right. I think that totally surprised Pablo. But Costa wasn't on the was on the defense because he couldn't calculate. He couldn't figure it out fast enough. And by the time he finally figured it out, the fight was over. So maybe if they fought again, which will probably never happen because of how this fight ended up, that was a dominant performance by Strickland. But if Costa ever builds himself up, which he probably will, and Sean Strickland is opposite of him again, I don't think Costa fights that same way. I think you're exactly right. I think Costa was fighting so like trying to calculate and so fighting so defensive that I think the next time he fights Sean Strickland, he's gonna be more what we mostly see of Costa, and why we love watching him fight is who is this fucking guy that looks like a pretty boy model, fucking people up with his power. You know, it's like wow,
Yeah.
this came out of nowhere, and I absolutely respect to him But Sean Strickland is just that. It's just that asshole, man, that's gonna beat your ass and you're gonna be like, "What happened, man? Why were you been?" Just tell you to your face, and that's why we gotta love that entertainment side of the sport, because a lot of people are so scared of getting canceled. Where Sean Strickland, he doesn't give a fuck. So I love it. Continue. Let's get it. No
Yeah.
Mets in the building. Let's go.
Salute to no Mets, no Nets, no Jets. And right now we're gonna talk about for the main event, which is happening right now, which is Dustin Poirier versus Islam Makhachev. What I just saw for the main event, I mean, what's all about for the Islam hate? Don't get me wrong, because I just noticed it about for the majority of the people over the social media respecting Makhachev, the way he fought against Dustin. But I just saw a lot of people that say, I hated this guy, I don't like it. But as far as I know, Islam Makhachev is one of those most dangerous men in the UFC because he's always a great fighter. It is also the grappling is one of the best in the sport right now because he's also humble because he has respect for the opponent. If the respect was mutual and overall, it's like a very good fighter. But I can see surprising Khabib at some point if he didn't already. So what happened with that? Because his attitude, his skills, his respect towards the games, which doesn't always get recognized. Because I always think that into it for the Poirier, one of the best pure boxers, and he stood with him to strike him, but also playing this shit up because the last fight happened to save the card. Because Islam got the Kimura or Chuck for the Dustin in round number one, they will still hate this fight that they're fighting, and the weapon is off with the language because performance matters at times, but it takes two to a lot of dance of Tago. Because I thought it's gonna like a super good performance in the main event. Aslan show up why is the best pound by pound, number one, improving himself against for the one who that's the world. Well, doesn't show up with a much better takedown with defense and submission defense because at the age of 35, he held it on for there and made it like a competitive fight. I mean, he wouldn't have it won if the distance would have been like dominated. I thought didn't win. I despite that's not winning the belt because his championship level it is up there for the best lightweights of all time. Is that was Dustin last fight? That was look good to want now because there is see like an emotions outside, but we have to admit about for the good performance of Makhachev. It was like the best performance that what you see because it's not always that I dominate for the fight because in order to come to overcome our sides, you gotta step out for the comfort zone. So show why you're the champion and finish the fight because that's why show up last night because that looks so complete at all. Because also doesn't it look incredible? I don't think it is much of a dog fight, but they just saved like the car. But I don't know. I understand why the Pakistan dedicates so much hate. They're very nice and polite, no swearing, no trash talk, just respect all the great fighters because they always had to get out strikely. Because I just wanted to fight it up. I'll fight anything down because I just see it like the more intense because I would love to see like Islam Makhachev being like one of the greatest of all time. And we had to be careful along with Khabib because nobody thought it was gonna be something important.
Yeah, first off, I would just want to thank Islam for even giving Dustin Poirier a shot. Dustin Poirier
Yeah.
had a good performance his last out against Benoit Saint Denis, and Islam Makhachev didn't have to give him this championship fight, but he did. Why? Because the division was tangled up at UFC 300. And then now, what you get out of this fight is you get two legends sharing the octagon together. I think a lot of people had Islam coming in here and fully dominating Dustin Poirier. I know I got a lot of heat on last week's episode about me saying that Dustin Poirier has the opportunity here to really outstrike Islam. And that's pretty much what Dustin Poirier did. Dustin Poirier is a Hall of Famer. He may retire without ever winning a championship, but to even get into the Hall of Fame in the UFC and to even get that status as a UFC legend and a fighter's fighter, you damn near have to be good because a lot of the times it's reserved for certain figures or certain people that move the sticks, certain champions. But I could say Destin did it all. Destin moved the sticks. Destin was an interim champion. Destin had brought people into into the fight, opened up a whole market in the South. You know what I'm saying? I know there's a lot of fighters that came from the South, but Destin, put the South on the map from the early times. Some of these fighters he's fighting was a fan of him growing up. This guy has been fighting for a long time. He's an absolute killer. But when you go against someone like Islam Makovich, you have to train a certain way. And I think that Destin did it. He was stuffing takedowns. He was trying to play defense, and he was hurting him on the feet. But my man Mafiel just said it, my co-host. He said, a true champion will figure out a way to win. This was Islam's toughest fight, and he needed this test. He needed Destin Poirier to elevate him to next heights in his career. Yes, we all know where they come from, and that's nothing to be messed with. The reason why they get a lot of hate, Rafael, is because when you're so dominant at one thing, they love you. But then when you're over dominant and you just keep on dominant, they start to hate you. Now that's what's starting to go on right now. They can't stand it. But I honestly think he gained even more fans of this performance because he was sliced up. He was beaten up. He did, struggle. He was tired at times. What did he do in the end? He ended up taking it down, and he made it look easy in the most darkest times, when these fighters go into these moments where they just have to go deep into their mind, really talk to their soul, and really see like, yo, I'm about to live my life on this line. This guy exactly went to that dark place in his mind, and he was able to get the fight exactly where he wanted it to be, and he submitted him in a Dutch choke, which you rarely see in the octagon. And a lot of people that maybe not a hardcore and maybe casual at MMA, they may not notice, or maybe they never trained BJJ in their life. But that was a nice light tight Dutch choke, and that was amazing to watch. And it reminded me of Anderson Silva getting beaten up by Shoshone, not to that extent, because Shoshone was basically beating his ass, and he pulls out a triangle out of nowhere. So that fight was absolutely a fun fight to watch. Destin, if this is your last fight in the octagon, man, thank you for amazing career, man. I mean, like you fought legends, dude, and you were a legend yourself. He has 2 wins over Conor McGregor. He has 2 wins over Max Holloway, and that's right there, 2 legends. And I don't even want to talk about his whole career because he has wins against a lot of people that have been in the top 10, top 5. This guy been in the top 10 last 10 years of his career.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you really think about it, man, it just goes to show you Islam is king, man. I wouldn't say he's the pound for pound. The rankings, they put him there. My co-host, they put him there as long as John Jones is fucking fighting. John Jones, he may not be fighting for 3 years, but he came in and he defeated the number 1 heavyweight. And I get it. He hasn't fought in a year and a half or 2 years, but he's still active in my mind. He still deserves to be on that list because what he did to Shogun when he came out there, when he gets back, and when he messes up Stipe, they're gonna put him right there where he belongs. Number 1, John Jones, but number 2 would definitely be Islam. And I will say this: it's John Jones, is Islam, and then the drop off is Will. The drop off is Will, because at the end of the day, those guys are king. I understand people that want to put Islam at the top. The only reason why I don't put him at the top is because that one knockout loss where John Jones really went through generation and then another generation of fighters, and then really doesn't even have a loss because it was really a illegal upwards elbow against Matt Hamble, where he was clearly fucking Matt Hamble up. So the athletic commission needs to change that one. But that being said, man, I don't want to bring up John Jones to take anything away from Islam, because Islam is king right now, and that's special because Khabib said it. When I'm done, his time, and Khabib was right. Everything they said they did, they was gonna do, they did. They flew to Perth. They fucked up. They fucked up Alex in his home country, in Australia. They forced him into an early rematch to fuck him up again and knock him out. I mean, like they went in there and they Dutch choked Destin Poirier. I can't wait to see what's next for Islam, man. That camp is dangerous, and it's all to the great Khabib's father, man. What an outstanding coach, and he's up there looking down at his fighters, and he's proud, man. He's smiling, man. He's fucking smiling.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Sure.
Exactly. That was just like a very good argument, because right now, pound by pound, it means not only had the best overall career, because I know that it was weird because Khabib retired. I think he would just treat like as a supporting message, even though that he can have like the number 1 spot. He couldn't go over when he did. He even placed Khabib as Mount Rushmore of MMA fighters, and right now they're taking like at a random spot. But one of the greatest gifts that they have, like Islam Makhachev, it seems like it get a spark. I mean, there's not gonna be like another bullshit story, but if that happens, there's gonna be full flighted because even though it's gonna be like at a very discussion right now, because besides that, there is a longer example. John Jones is pretty much like retired, but what we even look at the pound by pound ranking because I just saw for it like at a photo right here. So let's just check them out. Since 2021, Islam Makhachev, she just fought like everything could happen. So let's check them out for the last fights. So he just beat Drew Dober, Thiago Moises, Dan Hooker, Bobby Green, Charles Oliveira, Alice Volkanovski twice, Dustin Poirier, and the only he just won between John Jones, that was just like the only one for against Zero Game. But besides of that, I mean,
That's
that could have
I would
happened.
I would debate. Put that graphic back up. Put that graphic back up. This is gonna be fun. That
Oh
I
yeah,
would
there
I
you
would
go.
debate this because it's him. It's himself saying that, and I get what he's saying because he absolutely had an amazing one. Right there is an amazing one, but but that is recently, all right. That's been recently biased. Why doesn't he? Why doesn't and he should honestly leave it up to the critics and the MMA community of fans to decide this because by you putting yourself there is kind of like it's kind of like egotistic in a way. But that being said, I understand where he's coming from. But why doesn't he just put up John Jones' full resume? Because if he puts up John Jones' full resume, there's no competition there. As long as John Jones is still
Exactly.
fighting, like John Jones is the best fighter. When he retires, Islam, by all means, that is your spot. That's why I put you next to John Jones. There's a drop off after that. But then again, though, John Jones got tested against the best of the best fighters in the world, and Islam hasn't beaten the best of the best fighters in the world yet in his division because he just got the championship, and now he's about to face all of the killers that's about to come. His first time defending. I get it. He fought top five. I'm not trying to say he didn't fight top five. He fought killers. I mean, like the guy beat Oliveira. I'm not trying to take anything away from the cat. But what I will say this: his first title defense was a featherweight. His second title defense was a featherweight. And then his third title defense was a Dustin Poirier, which was finally a good test outside of your Oliveira's. But when you really think about it, it was a good test against Destin. John Jones doesn't get tested. John Jones goes in there and makes it look easy. Like look at his knockouts, look at his standing guillotine against Machia, and these are the top level competition fighters at the time. And then when he does kind of look sloppy, it's against like him like coming off of like a 3-year layoff when he fights St. Pius, when he fights Reyes. And then when he fights Reyes, a lot of people is like Reyes won that fight, but then they don't count the leg. They're not counting the leg kicks because John Jones leg kicked the half out of him. So it showed that John Jones he elevates with the
There you
times.
go.
He moves with the times, right? And I know your thoughts on John Jones, and I know you're a big fan of him as well. And I will end it to this for anybody who doubts John Jones. John Jones had basically ran through the best heavyweight at the time, or the best light heavyweight at the time, twice in Daniel Cormier and knocked him out. All right. So that being said, we consider Daniel Cormier as a fucking legend in the sport, and John Jones did him dirty. We're all fucking pointing high on cocaine and shit. So that being said, I mean, like John Jones is king. Islam, you wait in line.
Yeah.
As soon as the guy retires, then maybe you take it over. But right now, I mean, like there's killers coming up too, like Shaka Monaf. Well, I can't even say his name right now, but the guy is now he's coming up too. Though watch, because now the field is opening up. These undefeated mofos with like 18 wins and 18 stoppages and going against game opponents. It's about to change.
Yeah.
And then you have Chimaya. You have Chimaya getting tested but beating competition. Getting tested but beating competition. So Islam, John Jones is number one. You're number two, and we'll leave it at that. Continue, Rafael.
Yeah, because it's gonna be impossible to predict things like that because this is not about tennis where the best man of the day wins every time. I
Yes.
know that fluke knockouts can
But we love the
affect
sport.
Islam path to become like the GOAT. Even Khabib say if you fight enough times in the UFC, you will lose. I mean, Jones is the only one who somehow fought 20 times at the UFC. It was actually
He
undefeated.
just has that
And what
secret
it
cheat
do?
code, huh?
Yeah,
Maybe it's that strippers and partying and then going out on Saturday night and not training and maybe he just not continue.
yeah, yeah. But I know that's something that I was like to disrespect right now. But I didn't even know how to go for the test right now. Is gonna be beaten during that time. But I don't think that's gonna be like more than happy to go to the caption that. But I think the debate of Islam Makhachev versus John Jones, I mean, it's somehow there's gonna be like a one decision because who's gonna be like the Mount Rushmore, the GOAT. I mean, people forget about the cheating over and over and over. But I
But
know that
that's the
middleweights is
thing I
gonna
say
be
right here. I apologize to interrupt again. I don't say there is a debate because Islam got knocked out.
yeah.
You have a knockout loss, so you shouldn't even be now. If people want to debate Khabib versus John Jones, we can debate that. But I would say it's John Jones still because Khabib retired. And due to the circumstance, I'm not trying to be a mean to Khabib or be a dick, but he retired when he was just about to prove himself against a high level competition in the division, and he ran through everybody. And how do you fight 30 fights and not get scratched? I understand. I understand why people will pick Khabib, but I mean, like John Jones' list of competition is just superior, and that's why I would put Khabib. I would say there's a debate between Khabib and John Jones, and that's a debate for another show, and we can talk about that later. But I would not say Islam versus Jones because of the fact that I understand people are talking about it because it's relevant. I understand it, but Islam loses 7 out of 7 days of the week because he got knocked out. That one loss is a knockout. That one loss with John Jones is a illegal DQ upwards elbow where he is literally beating the guy's ass. But I
There you go.
digress. I'll let you get back to it. I apologize for interrupting, man.
So, because I know that he can feel like a field day, but I simply have because he has overtaken right now because I know the rankings because it's not about for the marketing tool because I'm very surprised because I will getting sure because whatever it is right now doesn't mean enough of it because I don't think it's gonna be like at a very time because Islam Makhachev has two title defense against someone in another weight class. I know they want to say what they want because he hasn't lost it 10 times and 10 more defensive titles. I mean, it should be the rank more higher. That's where they come for the best someone in the weight class, but they just moved out to the system that is supposed to take up very consideration. But I think it's gonna be doing about this. But I know there's gonna no debate right now. But I'm gonna tell you for this one. I got the quote for them is right now. If you're a real UFC champion, you had to take fight. It doesn't matter how many days it's gonna be going to be because it's not like pound for a pound champion with the game like Chanel Sonnen. Even though we remember about the rivalry between Anderson Silva versus Chanel Sonnen. And I know it's not gonna feel like it at this point. It's gonna be like a effect. It's not gonna be like a talking small with everything, but it goes up into the social media. But it doesn't mean that we should have disqualified it to reject it because the risks have to pay, and the show notice is gonna be messed up for the territory. And in Jones' case, I mean, he's risking millions at the points of the contrast at the UFC, so it's gonna affect. Not gonna take
Yeah, I
short.
mean, like he's
Right.
busy also wasting millions in courts and all this kind of shit because
Yeah.
he was stupid in growing up. But we was all stupid when we was young. We forgot how young he was when he won the championship, and we forget. Not you saying you, I'm just saying as an MMA community. When you have a fighter like Islam that is dominant, you just put it up. He's dominating these fools, right? And then we forget that hey, John Jones did that. He ran through his division. He ran through his division again, and then he ran through his division again, and then now he moved up, and now he's dealing with all these injuries and all these. His body's catching up to him because now he's the old guy, right? But it's so unfair to compare Patrick Mahomes to Tom Brady because Tom Brady just retired. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like in this scenario, it's like Tom Brady. Tom Brady is John Jones, and Islam is Patrick Mahomes, and it's like we get it. Islam, you're fucking good, man. You're great, but let's not just dismiss what Tom Brady just did. We get it. KC's a dynasty right now. You guys are trying to go for a three-peat, but let's not dismiss what Tom Brady just did. And that's why I'm saying, like, I love the discussion. I love this topic. I love getting into this. But that's what, for me personally, it's like you can get there one day. You just need to prove it to me. Right now, you're in the middle of your career. John Jones is at the end of his career.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So after we just revealed for the UFC 302, which is in Newark, New Jersey, well, after we just saw about for UFC Fight Night and Cannonier versus Immobil, I mean, there's one topic that I would love to discuss right now. And I know that Raul Rosas Jr., he became like one of the best dangerous fighters in UFC. Even though they're very younger because he's only had 19 years old, because after he was just trying to book it off against Ricky Torres, but he just won. But I think that Raul Rosas Jr., he could be like one of the youngest talents in the UFC because it gotta be take shorts because I know it's gonna be like a great opportunity. But I gotta tell you for this one, he's very, very dangerous and he's like the freaking animal. It's just like an instant pressure, getting off for the RNC in the first one was impressive. I mean, that was like the great experience. And I'm very interested about the development of Rosso because he showed up with a lot of promise. His wrestling pace is insane right now because he looks very good for only 19. I mean, it's not gonna be like the weirdest one, but I would love to see Raul Rosas became one of the youngest champion in UFC. If he earned that title and earned a title shot, that could be a mind blowing. That could be a mind blowing for the career of like a United States Mexican athlete like Raul Rosas Jr. because he's undeniable. Because after we just talked about for Islam Makhachev, you had to be careful about Raul Rosas Jr. because he gonna whoop their ass right now because he's gonna knock you down and you gotta be careful because he's only 19, but he's ready to get like a title shot for Raul Rosas Jr.
Yeah, I mean, like let's talk about Will. He's basically, he made his nice little appearance in the UFC, and he got that loss. He got that loss, but at the end of the day, from that loss, it kind of you don't take really losses, you take lessons, right? And he did learn from that loss, and ever since that loss, he just basically been on a tear. I think Rafael is right in a sense. He is going to be fighting for a championship if he continues the route that he continues, being that he's in the bantamweight division. He does have some killers above him, and he is going to get tested. He's not even in the top 15 yet, and when he does enter into the top 15, I want to see him go against someone like maybe Umar Nurmagomedov, someone that is 17-0, someone that is a top 10 bantamweight, someone that can test his skills. Right now, they feed him to Umar, I think he loses. Right now they feed him to Moab, I think he loses. Right now, they feed him to the champion. I think he loses. The bantamweight division is totally stacked. But what my co-host sees and what I kind of see too, by the time this kid's 22, you give this kid 3 years to learn. You give this kid some time to develop. The guy will straight up be a young champion in this division. 22, 23, 24. The problem is this division, once division that really wasn't really the greatest division to talk about, is now a stacked division. You have a young champion in Sean O'Malley that is not looking to go anywhere anytime soon. You have a young stud in the number one spot in Morab that is just a killer. You got Peter Yan looking like he's having a revival in his career. You got Corey Sanhagen still at the top. I do believe that we'll beat some of these guys like a Song Young Dong. He beats maybe like a Jose Aldo that at his age. He beats maybe like a Wild Font. Maybe he can even tangle with Davison. But when he gets to the people that is not even gonna be that level, like the thing is, Umar is sitting right where they'll probably put him, a Kyle Phillips, like a Dominic Cruz, like that's Jonathan. I'm looking at the rankings. That's why I'm dropping these names. Like he's gonna fight one of these guys next if he can beat, say, like a Jonathan Martinez. Or Pedro Munez, for example. If he beats a Pedro Munez, then he's gonna fight someone like Umar. What I hope doesn't happen is hopefully he's taking his time and he has a good camp behind him that's really focusing on his skills and honing his skills before he rushes and faces somebody like that is a gatekeeper for the top 10 like Umar, because at the end of the day there's some killers at the top of this division that he's not ready for yet. But if his team does him justice, if he continues to develop his and hone his craft, and he comes out every performance, that's what we see in these young prospects. What separates not so good prospects from great prospects is the ability to improve every time they get back into the octagon. And he's so good that he's improving and he's looking better every time he gets back into the octagon, and he knows how it feels to lose, and he doesn't want that feeling again. So I'm praying and I'm hoping that his camp does it justice. They time out his rise. They don't feed him to the great whites just yet. Let him handle maybe some Pacifics. Let him handle some bulls, then fight a tiger, and then feed him to the great whites. And if they do that correctly, this kid will definitely have an outstanding rise and continue looking amazing like he is.
Yeah, exactly. And I really thought that Raul Rosas Jr. he became like something that I was very perfectly right because I thought it's gonna be like so realistic about Raul Rosas Jr. I mean, he has a very natural talent. He knows about for this appointment. He knows about for this absolutely incredible. But I know that he just like a device to getting pro right now. I mean, remember when Sean O'Malley just tell that I was as junior because he like to take like a device to take two to improve. I mean, it's not entirely wrong here because it's just better. It's like a suspension of after time, develop his skills and physically keep it like business schedule against caliber guys who could still hurt him. But I think he was finding on the regional scene where he can airslay in competition, but it's not gonna be asked to release or the guy because it don't take like 2 years off, but finding once twice a year and spending like a developing, it makes sense at all because it's only where the young prospect to get experience being further to the deep end or the best promotion in the world because that's exactly how the call for came back right now. I mean, he looked very different right now because I know that he has a very great strike and steals combined with the fact he was like 19, but he doesn't have like 26 years old all strength quiz right now. But I know that maybe they gotta be stronger enough, but he couldn't be gravity the scanner to choke him with negative enough to squeeze or to stay conscious because he was literally a high school senior competitor. Because I know it's gonna be like one of the best level strength that it goes for the mid 20s. Because I was concerned about not being frustrated, but that kid he understand about his for his chores and identity because I know about for the experience. And you have to be careful because I know this is gonna be like one of the youngest prospects going for the title, the airing shot. I mean, that could have happened.
That's why I don't disagree with that. I just say that hopefully his team don't promote him too fast. Don't chase being the youngest champion. Chase being great. Who cares if you don't win the champion until you're 28? At the end of the day, right now, hopefully the team is not thinking of just timing it right. And I think they have a good team behind him and think they're timing it right. And he could be a contender. We could say by the time he's 22, 23, this kid can be a contender. We see champions, young prospects come in all the time, looking great. They fast track their career, and then they're not so great. Look at Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper had a good out, but at the end of the day, like remember when people hyped him up? Like look at nothing against your boy Vitor, but Vitor rushed track to Anthony Smith, overlooked Anthony Smith, and got knocked out. So it's almost like when you just time it right. If you time it right, like no, everybody can't be Ilya. Everybody can't be Ilya. This guy maybe he is gonna be a young champion, but at the end of the day, don't chase that I'm gonna be the youngest champion ever record when you have some killers at the top of this division that literally could beat you. So you don't wanna chase that. You wanna time it right. Who cares if you're gonna be a champion at 26, you're still the fucking champion. Hopefully, this guy will probably hold the belt one day. We'll see how it happens.
Yep, exactly. And right now, I think this is gonna be like so realistic right now because this June is gonna be so important for the mixed martial arts and of course for the wrestling. Because right now it's gonna be on 29th of June 2024, which they had Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. Also, they just got Wita Take versus Chimawet, which is the next one, which is on June 22. And for the June 15 is going to be Alice Perez versus Tatsuro Taira. Also for the next week is going to be Clash at the Castle. But we're going to like review about this on the next episode because right now we're going to do some stuff like that. But it's not going to be like a really short. But thanks for having us for this episode number 13 of the Combat Club because we're right back on the next episode because we're going to define about for the news of the wrestling, mixed martial arts, boxing. So I gotta tell you for this one. Subscribe to our channels right now. Subscribe to Zion Zenith. Not only he's gonna be good at New York Giants, Miami Heat, the NBA, UFC, all about these stuffs. And of course, subscribe to my channel like Capitán Rafucho. I'm almost way down there in 1K subscribers. So it's
Just
been like a
great.
crazy right now. So yes, I'm
Absolutely.
almost there.
We're gonna get you to the K. Everybody, make sure you like this stream. I really appreciate everybody that stopped in tonight, holding it down there in the chat. We really love to see that. I know the day kind of changed up on you guys, but you guys found a way to even come true on a Sunday afternoon to watch us. We're gonna get out of here early because I know everybody's trying to get that Boston and that Dallas Mavericks game
Oh
on
yes,
its way
yes it
NBA
is.
Finals. But man, we really appreciate it. I know Raphael wanted to talk about NXT Battlegrounds. Unfortunately, I took up too much time talking about John Jones, so I apologize, Raphael. And we'll probably get into Battlegrounds, talk some WWE, talk maybe some things in the world of Bellator and boxing. Because a lot of the times we love UFC, but we do kind of want to change it up in time to. But there's so much things to talk about that we try to bring you guys the latest and greatest in one category, but we always show that it's called the Combat Club, so we can talk about other combat sports as
Oh
well.
yes,
Go right
yes.
ahead,
And
Raphael, and this out.
I'm gonna be like at a very short about for the NST battleground between Trick Williams versus Ethan Page. I know it's gonna be so damn good about this because a lot of things right now, and I mean, this is gonna be like at a surprisingly enough because I know there's gonna be like at a TNA invasion, but I really thought it's gonna be like in more surprises, even though for the title. But this right now, there's gonna be for the first time in the UFC A-plates, and I know it's gonna push it back right now, but it seems that anyone's gonna push it back. But I really think that's gonna be so damn good that no one can miss about it. I know it's gonna be 8 p.m., but I really expected about this, but I think there's gonna be a lot of surprise if Trick Williams would have it because he has very intense, he has a very enough of the skill set, but I think it's gonna be like very realistic. He's gonna take off for the title, and I know it's gonna be something important. And right now, I just wanted to say to everybody else, thanks for watching us at this Combat Club. And I know it's going to be 8 p.m. because after that, I'm going to do like a play-by-play on the NBA Finals between Boston Celtics versus Dallas Mavericks. So I'm very glad this is going to be so realistic right now. So we want to see you on the next episode of the Combat Club. So this is Rafael Chacín, as known as Capitán Rafucho, and my co-host, Zion Zenith. We will say you happy Sunday, happy weekend every day, and of course, salute to the fellas right now. Thanks for much love and respect. So we will see you on the next episode and the next game and the next episode. So salute to you guys. And right now, let's get it. And right now, let's just see what happens. There you go.